Welcome back to the Street Shaman Podcast. I am your host, Shamanic Poe, aka Poe and the Rockstar, and today I'm here with musician and artiste, Liv The Artist. How you doing, girl? How you been?
I'm feeling good. How about you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right.
Awesome. I'm happy to be here. Nice to meet you. And I'm excited to have some good conversation.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. So how long have you been working on music? What got you into it? How did you start? Give me that.
So I grew up with music all around my family. They were musically oriented. My parents were in a metal band when I was little. And
Okay.
so as soon as I could get into bars around the third grade, I was front row watching my parents jam out on guitar and bass. And always went to their practice sessions. If they weren't practicing in a jam hall, I would be babysat by my grandma. But they were just always musically inclined and also very supportive throughout my childhood. And so I've been involved since about, like, I would say age 6, maybe 5-ish. But yeah,
Okay.
I've been into it for a minute.
And I can tell when I saw your work and I seen the videos you got up and everything like that. I'm like, yo, she had to be doing this shit forever. Cause I got a cousin like me. I ain't have such luck. My luck was kind of shitty when it came to that department because none of the people in my family actually did music. I have cousins that rapped, but they never took it seriously.
Yeah.
Um, and then I have distant cousins that work on keyboard and shit like that for like reggaeton artists. I have a cousin that I don't see as much that she dances for reggaeton artists and shit like that. And they were very
Yes.
supportive to that to those kids. Like their parents were super supportive. I didn't have such luck. Like my mom didn't give a fuck about none of that shit. She was like, all right, yeah, you go get yourself a job, go be a
Yep.
doctor or something.
Yep.
Like I'm like, you look at me, you think I'm gonna be a doctor? Like what the fuck you who are you talking to? But
Right.
yeah, that's what's up though. When you have like that support system, I can see how it transitions to something more successful because you're doing things and you're getting a lot of notoriety, right? I seen one post you had that you did a video. It was liked by Timberland. Like I follow Timberland, so I looked at the video. I'm like,
Yeah.
liked by Timberland.
Yeah,
Like
right.
Timberland worked with
Crazy.
fucking Jay-Z and Justin Timberlake, and here he is liking live artist shit. Like, so
Super dope.
how super dope. But how is that for you? Like, how do you stay humble when you're getting that type of love from people that are like, out of here when it comes to this music shit?
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like I have to consistently find ways to stay grounded and ask why I do what I do and remember why I started and why I like to play. Um, it's kind of weird having the fame thing creep in. I wouldn't really call it fame. It's just like blowing up on Instagram. Like everyone's kind of famous now, and it's like this weird thing. But
Right.
altogether, I feel like um, I don't know. It's just kind of what I do, and it's who I am. And so, remembering why I do what I do and keeping that in mind is the number one thing that I try and hold number one. It's weird. Like when I found out Timbaland was following me, I was like, "What? Like, you think it was a
Oh, so
different
he's
Liv The
so he's
Artist? Like, I'm sure."
following you. So he's
Yeah,
following you. You
yeah.
better
It
hit
was
him up. Have you ever hit him up?
no. It was like okay. So there was they have this beat club thing going on where they
I know
have
about it.
different producers. They hit up a handful of people, and we had a meeting with like the beat club organizers and everything. And I was like, is this for real or is this like fake? I don't know. It's kind of one of those like imposter syndrome kind of things too, where I'm like,
Right.
are you think I'm like that good enough, or am I like really making it seem like I'm good? But
You better
yeah, they
stop,
like
girl.
my
What you mean? What you mean?
I'm
What the
working on it.
fuck you
I'm
mean?
working on it, man. I'm working on
I
it. But
see you. I see you. But like, yeah,
yeah,
cause like you play a couple instruments, don't you? You
yeah.
do a few things. How many things do you do?
So I started with the piano when I was like in the first grade. My parents had like the piano, cello, bass, guitar, drums, just chilling at the house, and I was a quiet kid. And so instead of going to hang out with friends, I would just dabble in all kinds of instruments and just kind of get into art more than anything. And so I played piano, and then I migrated over to the viola in like the 3rd grade. That's where I had lessons and started implementing the discipline and stuff. And then my mom bought a cello down the line. And when I was in youth philharmonic, I would sit next to the cello. So you got cellos and you got violas, then the second violins, first violins. And I would always look over the cellos and be like, damn, that sounds so good. And it sounds fun to play. I want a cello. And so my mom got a cello for herself. And then it was at the house. So I was like, fuck around, find out. I'm going to dabble and learn this. So I learned that. And then guitar came when I was around like 15, 16. I got into guitar, and singing has kind of always like been in and out. I'm focusing more on like songwriting and putting everything together and producing and score production to kind of like glue all of the talents into one right now. But just kind of like drifting and being kind of nomadic with the instruments, and not putting myself in a box and saying, all right, I got to be like pro at this one thing. I was just kind of find it interesting. And if I do, then I like see what's up and see if I like the instrument.
Right.
So,
And you obsess over it. If you like it, you fuck with it heavy.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
you
like, all right,
obsess,
let's
huh?
get it. Yeah, for sure.
No doubt. Yeah, that's how I am. Like for a while, I didn't even like I knew how to produce, I knew how to make beats since I was like 10, 11 years old, but I didn't want to make the beats. I didn't want to. I was like, I just want to rap. I want to be the face that raps and shit like that. I get somebody else to make the beats. I'll work with them, but I don't want to, and now it's been a whole process of learning all that shit for myself, like producing, mixing, mastering. Like I'm definitely not the best at mixing and mastering and shit, but the beats, if you need me to make a beat, hell yeah, I can make a beat. Like I'll feel some shit. I know where to go with it. I know where to find my shit. But that's only been in the past couple years that I actually picked up the machine and started working on some shit.
Okay, you got machine 2, the micro.
I got the micro.
Gotcha. Do you use Logic? What do you use for your DAW?
Right now, it's gonna be a shame to say, but I use Nah. I use Cakewalk. I don't have. I mean, I have an iPad that I could probably put GarageBand and hook that up. But I'm using a laptop, old ass laptop right now. So this project I'm releasing right now, Audio Stage, is all from this old ass laptop that's like 7, 8 years old. The plugins are literally old as fuck. I can't get new plugins on this machine, but I'm working with it. I'm making it happen. And a lot of people are liking the music. So
yeah, the music sounds great. And I never would have guessed. I mean, I'm not a pro at like, I don't nerd out so I have a question. Do you nerd out when it comes to like the techie side of production, or are you like pulling your hair out trying to understand it? Because for me, I'm like super hands-on, put an instrument in my hand, I'll jam out. But the moment you get me behind a computer, watching YouTube videos, trying to learn how to do engineering, I just want to like, it's just not
right. And it's another thing about that is that a lot of people have their own ways of mixing, their own ways of mastering, their own ways of recording. So you can go on YouTube all you want, but there's going to be like a slew of different ideas and directions you could take that production. Excuse me, beer burp.
Get it out.
Yeah, I got to get it out. But yeah, there's different ways you can take it. So, and you don't need to mix everything the same way. There's a lot of plugins now that they have where it's like you can sound like Future, you can sound like whoever, fill in the blank. You can sound like this person.
Yes.
Right. And it's like, but do you want to sound like them, or do you want to create your own sound? Do you want to get in there and get creative and do something different? Do something that might feel comfortable as far as for the listener, that they'll be like, oh, I kind of know this vibe, but also turn it on its head and do something different. A lot of people are scared to do that. They're just going with the presets. Like if I had an up-to-date computer right now, I'll probably be like them, going with the presets.
Yes.
But because I don't have it, I have to resort to being creative and just going with what feels right. but I've always kind of been that person. I've always kind of been that person where just go with what feels right. Fuck what they think is cool right
Yeah.
now. Fuck what
Yeah.
they think is hot right now. I'm just gonna do what I feel is dope.
Absolutely.
So you working on a new project now that you're talking about mixing and working on stuff and producing. You working on a new project? Because I seen your
So
Spotify. The last thing you put out was 2017.
long ass time ago. I was just telling my friend about that. Like, last thing I put out was like a long time ago. I feel like everyone has this folder in their computer that is labeled songs that are dope, but I'm not going to release yet. Super fire songs, but kind of putting them on the back burner. I'll come back to it later. And so I just have a slew of songs that I will write in my DAW. I'll experiment, I'll dabble, I'll write riffs, and then I'll throw it in that folder. And so a lot of my material is 99.99% done, but I'll throw it in the folder and then I'll be like, all right, on to the next. It's kind of like, it's just me like taking the time and allowing myself to get good at my craft and not feel like I have to rush into anything. I feel like now with social media and with everyone releasing singles every 5 seconds back to back and promoting it and just like bam, bam, bam. It doesn't feel right to me just because I find music very sacred and very pure. And if you just kind of like have a mindset of like a dime a dozen mentality and just throw it out there just for the money or the looks or whatever, it's just like, nah, I'm going to take my time because I know that it takes time to get good at stuff. I know that I can't be an amazing producer overnight. I would like to produce my own music. And I've had the worst luck with getting with like different engineers and producers on my own stuff. I hear stuff in my head and I'm like, all right, I think something is telling me just to like take a step back and be patient with my work. And so I am planning to release material before the end of this year. And so, yeah, it is on the way, but yeah, I haven't released stuff in a minute.
Yeah, so you're taking your time. So
Yeah.
what is the bad luck that you've had with engineers? Because I know I've had my share of bad
Yeah.
luck with engineers, but what was your experience working with different engineers? You ain't gotta say
Yeah.
nobody's name.
Yeah.
You ain't
Yeah.
gotta say nobody's name. Anybody gotta
Yeah.
know who you talking
So
about. But go ahead.
it's like this thing where we'll usually vibe and I think that we're on the same page, but then when we really get into the studio, it also has to do with me like learning as I go and realizing I don't really know what I want yet. So I'll get in there. If you work with the engineer, it's different versus a producer. Producer has their own sound. You go to a producer because you know how they sound and you want them to work with your shit. With an engineer, it's like, give me your files, give me all the samples you want. Let's structure the song that you wrote. I'm not going to put my sauce on it because I'm an engineer. And so with every time I've worked with the engineer, it's like, oh, I don't really know what I want. I have an idea. And then a lot of what I do in the studio is cook up on the spot. And so they'll kind of like turn to me and be like, yo, you're supposed to have that riff written, but I'll have it like on the spot. But there's like time and like, I don't have all the time in the world to work with the engineer. And with the producer, I get this vibe that it's going to work out. And then I think we're on the same page. And then stuff just kind of falls through the cracks where I recently had kind of a really bad experience with a producer I paid, and I ended up relocating and it just like didn't work out. And so I didn't get my money back. And now I'm like, bruh, that's fucked. But also this is like an expensive lesson where I just need to do my own shit and or have my stuff ready in files, waves, ready to go to give to an engineer and know exactly what I want. So it's one or the other. It's one or the other for me.
Right. Yeah, that's the problem with working with other people, especially if they're not in your camp. Like if you don't work with people that are initially in your camp, or if you don't have a camp, like most of my career, most of the shit that I've done, I didn't really have a camp. I just had me.
Yeah.
So when you don't have a camp, you have to rely on other producers, other engineers. I can't tell you how many times my music has been disappeared. It's gone. Oh, I got the mix down. I got the master of this song. Hey man, can you send me the TV track so I can perform this properly without having to rap over my shit? Oh, my computer went down and I lost all of your tracks.
That's just not the vibe for me. Not the vibe at all. Yeah, that sucks.
Right,
So how do you
right.
go? How do you go about, like? Are you just like, all right, I'm gonna do this on my own then, or like, how do you
Now,
move forward?
now, yeah, now it's just working on my own. I obviously would love to have a nice, solid team around, but I have trust issues, especially towards the music side of things. Like everybody that I work with musically, not everybody. There's been a couple people that actually worked really well with me because I
Mm,
paid them really well.
mm,
You know what I mean? But if I didn't pay you really well, like I paid for certain songs to get produced that cost me $1,000 to produce them.
mm-hmm.
But these are like top notch people. Like one dude, my first time ever doing that, there's a dude that worked with Dream Theater, the band Dream Theater. Then the other guys that ever did that for me was Cash Cash, which is a pretty big
Yep.
band. They're
Yep.
doing their EDM shit right now. Um, those people were solid. They made sure shit was as exactly how I wanted it. They kept revising it as many times as possible. But
Yes.
then there's other people that like, that's why I asked you about the Timberland thing, is because like there's some people that they get a little chance to get to sit in a room with Pharrell Williams or some shit,
Mm-hmm.
and now they think now their head is super big, can't fit through the doorway. Now
Yeah.
they want to act, a certain way. Like, dog, it's not that serious because it's not like, yeah, you sat in the room with him, but are you out of here? Out of here? Are you
Yeah.
doing these things that are, no, you're not. You're right here with me and you're still acting a certain way and you're still trying to like act like you're holier than thou or better than someone else. And
Yeah.
that shit is like a plague in the industry. Have
Yeah.
you ever encountered shit like that on your?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I feel like it's really important to have a certain energy in the studio when you're creating. It's not like, it's just kind of like when you're in a group with a band, same scenario. It's like you'll have the different personalities clashing, or someone gets an idea and the other person doesn't like it, and then this person gets all butthurt and sensitive throughout the rest of the session, and then you can feel the vibe, and then it's noticeable, and then you are forcing the song out. It's just like artists are really sensitive to those kind of energies, and just people in general can be. But I mean, it's also difficult. Not only that, but I feel like being a girl and kind of like a lone wolf at the moment with going into the studio, people having a perception of you, and then just feeling the vibes and just knowing, being able to read it, but also it makes me realize how much I need to learn how to trust myself and implement different ways for me to know who I am, and self-reassurance, and implementing all of the things that go into being an artist and a human and stuff. So it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's just like I have had trash luck, but I also think that it's benefiting me in ways that I'm not even aware of yet, because every time I've had a bad experience, I'm like, all right, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to learn scoring for movies, or I'm going to learn how to produce my own stuff and learn Ableton. And um,
Right.
I never regret the experience ever. So far, I haven't been like, damn. I mean, I'm still like, damn, but it's like the other side is always there eventually.
Right. Yeah, you have to like you can't take anything for granted. Like even if it's like a bad experience, you learn something from every bad experience you have
Yeah.
if you're paying attention. You be like, all right, I'm not gonna work with nobody that's like this, or I'm not, and maybe I should be doing it by myself.
Yeah.
Um, and like my biggest lesson now is like I need a fucking team. I need a good, solid team that everybody could work together. Everybody can share ideas or come in collective on everything that we're doing. Because without the team, it's like I'm stretching myself super thin trying to do the promotion, trying to
Yeah.
do the music, trying to, like, I got the podcast, which is like, a podcast so people can know who the fuck I am and also
Yes.
promote certain things. At the same time, I don't try to like take over the podcast. I try to make sure that everybody is heard and they get their message across. Um,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah.
a lot of people aren't like that nowadays. Nowadays, a lot of people are just for self, so it's hard to find people that are really gonna gel with you.
Mm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I feel that learning to be a leader and not superseding spinning too many plates, and then you're just wearing yourself thin at that point.
Right. I mean, like, I've always been a leader.
Mm.
I've been the person that's either a leader or a loner. Like, either you're riding
Yeah.
with what I'm doing or I'm going by myself. So that's why I'm a loner. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but honestly, I seen recently you went on like you had like a little mini tour. You did a couple shows and shit. How was that? How was that for you? And was that your first time doing some shows like that or no?
So that was kind of like my mini homecoming, also post pandemic when things are opening up and doing a show in over a year kind of mini tour. And I went back to Santa Fe, Albuquerque area. I lived there for 2 years, and that's kind of where my roots are, where I started performing back to back downtown at bars, all the places, any gig that people hit me up for. I was like, all right, let's do it. And so
Right.
I did that for a long time. Pandemic happened. By then I was in Oklahoma, where I am now, and
Okay.
shows weren't going on. There was like virtual stuff, not the same energy whatsoever. And then when you get on stage, it's like, oh shit, it's been a minute since I've seen people, like old friends and old homies, and
Right.
also being on stage. And so I feel like it it went really good because it was kind of like that. I could see myself from 2 years ago how much I've grown and been able to like stand my ground. I mean, with like all of the different opinions going on right now, and it being like an event where everyone's masked up or not masked up and people are just kind of more judgy, or there's just a weird energy sometimes. I feel like I could definitely tell that I was certain with who I was and less caring of other people's opinions and judgments, which was really nice. It was really nice because it's hard to tell when you're behind the screen, and when you get face to face, you can really like gauge where you're at, I suppose, with where you're at with other people and all that good stuff. So it went
Right.
really well.
That's what's up. That's what's
Yeah.
up. Yeah, like the last time I actually had that I did a performance, or I did like a mini tour as well, but I did a little string of shows with this band called Twisted.
Okay.
Um and before that I actually had a tour in April of 2019, but I was performing in front of like 20, 30 people because it was like my headlining tour, whatever, a small tour. So it's 20, 30 people maybe, if
Yeah.
that, there. So it was nothing. Then I did the shows with Twisted, and it was like sold out shows every night. It was like 700, 1,500,
Uh,
600. And I was like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to perform for these people because these
yes.
people aren't all my people. If they're my people, I feel more confident. I feel more relaxed.
Mm,
But when you're performing in front of a crowd that's like, I don't know if they're gonna boo me off the fucking stage or
yep.
not, because
Yep.
I could think the music's great. Certain people could think this music's great, but the people that are watching right now might fucking hate me.
Yeah.
It was nerve wracking as fuck. It
How
was
did it
nerve
go?
wracking as fuck.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you get a flow going? Like at first when you started, was it like, and then you're like, all right, I feel the rhythm. I know how to gauge the audience. How did that work?
well, the first show was amazing because I went in there with all the jitters,
Yeah.
Once an artist goes in there with like, I got something to prove, I gotta be on stage, I gotta do
Write
this
that
shit
shit
right,
down.
you just shut it down. The second fucking show, which happened to be the bigger show, I was running late. I was tired.
Yep.
I was a little hungover from the first show,
Yep.
and then I got to the venue, and in like 5-10 minutes, I had to like set up the table. I had to make sure the table was set up, and I had to jump on the stage.
Yeah. Just stress
And the
level 1000. Like,
sound guy was like, "Hey, you made it late. You're not gonna play today." And I had to go run to the fucking manager of Twisted to make sure that I performed and everything. So it was a lot of shit. So once I got on stage, I was not in no vibe to be really performing. I was like mad.
yep.
I wanted to say shit on the stage I shouldn't have said. You know what I mean?
Fuck that sound guy. Nah.
Right. So I was like holding back shit. It was to me it was terrible. I mean, I made sales. I had some fans that came through. I had some people that came through to the merch table that fucked with my performance. But for me, I was like, this is not it. This is not how I want to see myself.
Yeah. We all have those
You know?
shows, and it's just like, fuck. But
Right, and I'm
I'm
honest.
Yeah.
I'm honest about that shit. Like if I like people like how you felt you did today, I'm like, like not good. I didn't do good at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, I seen on your, because you know I do my little research and shit, so I clicked the link on the Instagram. I see that you're actually doing lessons on Patreon. How's that going for you? When did you start that? What made you want to start that? Give me the scoop.
Yeah. So I'm not doing a whole lot of lessons right now. I haven't really promoted it, and so I just have like one student here and there that trickle in. But I like doing lessons just because any way that I can make, not only just make money doing what I like doing and involving music, but also I was a student once and I'm still a student, but being able to kind of lift the youth up or help in any way, it's always kind of like pretty beneficial on both ends. I enjoy doing it. It's definitely not my forte, but it does bring in some bread, which is really nice, and it works. So it's going good.
So why are you saying it's not your forte? You're not the type of person that wants to teach people, or are you like a little apprehensive on teaching people?
I don't know. I think like not really that. I'm actually like, right now it's not the time. I would say I'm a live-in nanny right now, and so I'm actually teaching the kids in-house how to play piano and guitar and all these instruments. So I am doing it, but it's just like not online on Patreon. But I enjoy doing it. I think it really, if anything, I feel like I always learn something from them. I learned the most at the end of the day, because the number one thing is for them to have fun and stay inspired with it. You don't want to be that teacher that's like, all right, now do this, and this is your homework, and this is what you need, that the energy drink. So I feel like number one thing is like, yo, this needs to be fun. This needs to be exciting. I need to remember how I felt first starting out playing an instrument. It brings me back to when I was little and what kept me going, like what songs inspired me, where I just like close my eyes and listen to a song and be like, oh my gosh, I want to learn that on like the guitar so bad. Like RHCP Snow was like my jam. And so learning how to get the youth obsessed with, in a healthy way, not like Mr. Miyagi, like go hard or go home type vibe, but I mean, just to get them like really excited and pumped about what they're doing and seeing their progress, no matter how little of a step it is, you know. And so I feel like it's very humbling, because kids teach you so much all the time. It's crazy. So
No doubt.
yeah.
All right. So what's your mission with this music stuff? What's your goal? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish?
That's a good question. To keep it To keep it short and sweet, I would say to just be able to share good energy with other people and have people feel what I feel when I play or when I'm in flow. And being able to give a gift of music or art or wherever, if it touches someone's soul or someone's heart, or if it makes their day, or if it makes them cry, or if they're vibing with it, then that's why I do what I do. Just because, one, I love it, and I love being in the flow and practicing and immersing myself in the art, but also being able to give that to others and be like, yo, this is for you, like for us, like everybody, whoever's vibing with it, dope. So I would say both of those things.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt.
Yeah. What about you?
Okay. Um, I mean, my mission is to, I guess if I had to pick a mission that was like near and dear to my heart, it's just to inform people. I want to entertain people as well. I love to entertain people. That's why I do the podcast as well. Like I say crazy shit, joke around on here too. It's just to entertain people, but I do want to try narcissistically. My goal is to try to like shift the culture back to where I think it should be. More of a balance where it isn't like just completely negative or completely consumeristic where everybody's just like, hey, we're just going to put out a million songs for everybody to listen to, and whichever one sticks. It's more like try to bring some meat and potatoes to the table, because everybody's just trying to do this quick, like microwavable TV dinner music,
Cookie cutter, yeah.
And it's like which sucks, because I mean, I guess it makes sense for the industry because they can just put out a bunch of artists and a bunch of littles, and once they fucking fizzle out, throw them to the side, get another motherfucker here to do it. And narcissistically, I probably want to change that. That's the mission, but it's so hard. It's like you fucking punching God. It's like you David versus Goliath for real.
Yeah, I feel that. Trying to spread the truth and like be real, but in the industry, it's just kind of like
they'll shut that shit down. They'll shut that shit down completely. They'll make sure your views ain't getting there. They'll make sure you're not seen if you're doing this type of shit. So it's an uphill battle for sure, but I definitely
I totally am, like, I feel for you, because personally I'm not a lyricist at heart, but I see you have a lot of things that you say in your vocals and in your lyrics. You implement a lot of shit that is facts, and so with me it's like more melodic, and I'm able to like still do stuff without people being like, hey, like I don't fuck with what you're saying, or the industry's kind of like, or Timberland's like, whoever. It's just kind of like I'm not really saying too much with my lyrics, but I can only imagine like the frustration behind that.
Right. Yeah, I've had songs. I've had songs that were about loneliness and childhood trauma and shit like that. Fucking motorcycle. Fuck that guy over there. He's driving so damn crazy. Everybody's when they pass your crib. But anyway, like I had a song that I wanted to promote, that I wanted to advertise on YouTube, that was about loneliness and childhood trauma and shit like that. And I went to go advertise it on YouTube, and they shut me down because I had one fuck word in there. One fuck. They shut me down. Meanwhile, I watch ads all the time of videos where they're like, yeah, we fucking get this money, and yeah, fuck that bitch over there, and the girl's cheeks is clapping like this in the video, and it's an ad. And I'm like, I was by myself. I said one fuck, and somehow they denied me from advertising this shit. So
It's not right.
it seems a little, I put my tinfoil hat. I'd be like, wait a minute, this seems a little fishy. Why would y'all do that to this song that's only about childhood trauma and trying to like understand it compared to shake that ass, get that money,
Yep.
fuck these hoes to sleep?
Yep.
I don't get it. Anyway, that kind of goes into my theory here, and I wanted to ask you because I'm sure you're aware of Monday, IG and Facebook and fucking WhatsApp went down, right? It went down for like 9 hours.
Yeah.
What do you think that was?
Okay, so I didn't really dive deep, and I didn't realize it was down until it was like back up. And I don't. Okay, so this is me not even looking into the theories and stuff. My first thought when I heard that was like, are they testing the waters to see how people react? But I don't really know at all. I mean, what are people saying? Because
so the main theory is that the night before, some chick that worked at Facebook for a period of time, she went on 60 Minutes on, I think it's NBC or ABC, whatever the fuck the station, the channel is, but and she was exposing Facebook, but she was exposing Facebook in a way that's already been exposed 3-4 years ago from the documentary The Social Dilemma. So
yeah,
she was exposing them, and then the next day it went down. A lot of people think it's that. I don't think it's that. The next day when it went down in New York City, at least in New York City, there was a big protest for vaccinations and all that shit with the teachers and the medical workers. Big protest in New York City. That day, Facebook was down for most of the day, and Instagram was down for most of the day. If you would have seen the video,
Wow.
I could send you a video because
Yeah.
there was one news company on the scene that day, and they put up the video. It was everybody. It was black, brown, every color you could find, every shape and size of a person you could find. They were out in the streets and they were fighting for this. And the news, their narrative is everybody that's fighting for this is a Trumper. If you saw that crowd, you'd have seen the black, the brown, the purple,
Everybody.
the green. Everybody's there.
Yeah.
There's no way you can possibly say that there's Trumpers, or maybe there's a couple Trumpers, but it wasn't all Trumpers.
Yeah.
The majority of them were black and brown. And we didn't get to see that. Everybody was just more worried about the fact that everybody just was more worried about the fact that Facebook was down, IG was down, and then once it was up, everybody had their little memes on why IG was down and Facebook was down and market, But no one knows about this protest that was going strong in New York City with all these black and brown people talking about the vax and not wanting it to be mandated, especially for the medical workers that were there on the front line when everybody was getting sick.
Wow.
So that's my tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, but it seems a little obvious to me that that's why they shut it down, because they weren't only going through New York City like, like you could tell these were not Trumpers because they were rocking Australian flags and shit like that too, saying that we stand with Australia because Australia was going through all this shit they've been going through because of the vaccine.
Yeah.
So they're like, we stand with Australia. Now, if it was a Republican, and I know a few, my father-in-law, my girl's dad, he's a Trumper Republican.
Yeah.
those guys don't give a fuck about no other country but America. So the fact that there's a bunch of people out there like with Australian flags and like, hey, we stand with y'all, hold the line, raises eyebrows. And that was the day that they decided, oh, Facebook, Instagram is down. So it kind of
happened? Yeah.
No.
Wow.
I don't know.
I had no idea.
I don't know. Right. So, I mean, that's something to think about for everybody that's watching this, and for you as well, and for me as well. But
absolutely. I feel like there's a lot to be said. I mean, we could go on for like hours talking about that subject. I notice that, I mean, obviously social media has a lot of control. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. I feel like whenever I have conversation, there's no room for conversation about it. It feels like there's no one down to have a real to real, human to human talk about like their opinions or beliefs in a neutral way. And it's automatically like kind of raise eyebrows. Like they'll put hints out there like, are you vaxxed up? Are you not? Like they'll put like, I don't know. It's just kind of, and if you're not, or even family, I mean, like I have family all the time that's kind of like jabbing me, and it's like, bro, like why the fuck? Like why? It just turned hostile all of a sudden, and me being very I don't know, naturally sensitive and like wanting other people's approval and stuff. And it's also kind of like a herd mentality, psychology, fucked up thing that is going on right now. Like you see everyone and their mom, supposedly they got it, or everyone believes this one thing. And then it makes you think like, am I legit crazy? And so I have to go out and seek people that are on the same page with me, or like free thinking. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's why I fucks with you. I've been listening to like Academy of Thinking, I think, and Thoughts on Thinking, or Academy of Ideas.
Academy of Ideas.
Yeah, right. I really fucks with that. And then Richard Grannon, I've been listening to him for a minute. PRXO's dope. There's just a handful of people where I'm just like, okay, I'm not crazy. Other people are having conversations. This makes me feel like I am. It just kind of makes you have to individualize in a really specific way. It's crazy, but I mean, like I feel you on that subject. We could go on for hours talking about it, for real.
No doubt. Yeah. All right, but I'm done here. I have all the questions answered. The last question I do need you to answer is where they can find you, where they can find Liv the Artist.
Yeah, so main spot is Instagram, sadly. I mean, I guess not sadly, it's a platform, but Instagram's main spot. I throw up YouTube videos every so often. What else? I don't really get on Twitter a whole lot. Facebook is for my aunties and uncles. Don't really get on that a whole lot. I have a page on there though. But I would say mainly Instagram. I am going to be doing Twitch live streaming here within the next month or so. And I'll just be doing like live loops, Ableton, live looping packs, or just jamming around. And so I feel like that's going to slowly shift into my main platform, just because it's live. You don't have to edit videos really. You just turn the camera on, and then you can vibe with people. It's not this thing where it's all curated and it's for the likes or Instagram. You know how Instagram be, but I mean, like, I'm blessed to have people find me there. That being my central hub as of right now, but I feel like it's going to slowly migrate to Twitch or some other platform.
Something else.
So, yeah.
Right. Okay, no doubt. Yeah, that's my idea right now. I'm over here looking at fucking different social media platforms, things that are like new and coming up. Like I'm on Vero, which is a beautiful ass platform, but no one, I
What
won't
is
say
that
no
about?
one's on it.
What's
It's
Vero?
like Vero is like an Instagram, but it's prettier. But
Okay.
there isn't as many people on there. But it also does what Instagram started as, where when you post something, it goes straight to the top of the feed. It doesn't like play around, it does this algorithm bullshit where it tucks your shit, especially if it's an advertisement. Like if it's an advertisement, it tucks your shit. Instagram, Facebook, it tucks your shit because
Hmm.
it's trying to make you pay for the exposure. If you put up I put up memes all the
Yeah.
fucking time, I get mad numbers. But if I put up a post about my shit that I'm doing, a Street Shaman podcast, a new song, I have to go extra hard. I have to DM everybody, and I
Hmm.
know everybody with that, but I'm in DMs. I don't give a fuck. I'll DM you.
Yes.
I'll talk to you. I don't care. It's not one of those things with me. But Instagram and Facebook are definitely suppressing those posts,
Hmm.
and they're putting out more shit that's like raunchy. They'll make sure everybody sees the bullshit if it's about
Yep.
like some type of hate speech or if you're
Yep.
joking on somebody. Oh yeah, everybody can see that.
Yep.
And that's kind
Booty
of what this
pics, all of
right,
the all the
booty,
good
booty,
stuff.
right, booty pics and titty and
Yeah.
titty.
Yeah, I totally
But
feel
yeah,
that. So Vero, I'll have to check that out.
check it out. Check it out. I think you'll fuck with it. There's a lot of artists on there. There's a lot of creatives on there, photographers and producers and engineers and shit like that. So it's definitely a dope site, but it's brand new. It's only been out for
Gotcha.
like maybe a couple years.
Gotcha.
Excuse me. But yeah, thanks, Liv. Thanks for
I've had a
coming
good chat.
through.
Yeah,
We
thank you.
gonna do this shit again. We gonna do
Yo,
this shit again.
I would
Let's do
love
this shit
to.
again.
I would
No
love
doubt.
to. Thank you so much for hitting me in the DM and being down to have good conversation. I've been wanting to do more podcasting and just stuff like that in general, and so it's always good to just connect.
No doubt. For sure. For
Yes.
sure. All right. No doubt. We done here. We done here. Thanks to everybody that came through in the chat. Thanks for your love and support. Thanks for your time and attention. Thanks to all the donators and the people that are gonna comment after. Make sure you like it, subscribe, push all the buttons, push all the damn buttons. This is the Street Shaman Podcast. I am Shamanic Poe, aka Poe and the Rockstar, here with Liv the Artist. And we out. Motherfucker!